Welcome to the New to Wrestling podcast, where I, your host, Xavier Cruz, a lifelong wrestling fan, will take a lifelong friend through the action, the joys, and the drama of the world of professional wrestling. My co-host, Kelsey Silva, has been bitten by the wrestling bug, and I want to invite you to join us as I take her through the moments that made me a fan. So if you're new to wrestling and would like to get brought up to speed, or a fan who would like to relive some classic matches, promos, and segments through fresh eyes, join us as we embark on a journey through the Attitude Era and beyond. Welcome to the New to Wrestling podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the New to Wrestling podcast. This week, we watched the March 17th, 1997 edition of Raw is War, and the match card is as follows. In our opener, we had the Legion of Doom taking on the Nation of Domination, namely Crush and Savio Vega. We had Hunter Hearst Helmsley with China taking on Flash Funk. We had Mini Goldust and Mini Mascarita Sagrada Jr. taking on Mini Vader and Mini Mankind. We'll get into that when we get there. And we have the Sultan.
I don't even know if we can get into that, but
yeah, we're gonna. It happened, so we're gonna have to talk about it. We're
gonna do our best.
Yeah, amen. We have the Sultan taking on Mike Bell. We have Vader taking on the British Bulldog. Billy Gunn taking on Aaron Ferguson. And in our main event, we have Sycho Sid taking on Bret Hart for the WWF Championship in a steel cage, which is the first for the podcast, I think.
Oh my God, it is, I think, because I think the only cage we've had is Vader. Paul Bear suspended. In a cage. I don't think we've actually had a cage match though.
No. Yeah, that's why I was like, while it was going on, like it took me way too long to be like, wait, do you know the rules of this match?
It wasn't way too long because I feel like Sycho Sid, well, I guess we'll get there, but I don't think it was way too long because he started climbing up the thing and I was like,
Right.
You're like, oh, wait a minute. Do you not know what's going on? Okay.
Right. Okay.
But we'll get into that.
We'll get there when we get there. There's lots we got to go over before then. So this is the final stop on the road to WrestleMania 13. Another first for the show. It'll be our first WrestleMania.
Wow.
First WrestleMania recording it. It will not be either of our first WrestleManias. I subject her to it. It's pretty much going to be yearly now because it's always around my birthday. So WrestleMania is my birthday present every year. So
yeah, and the tea is always so piping hot at WrestleMania. Last year's gagged me. I didn't know anything that was going on. And when they were doing the rundowns of the stories, there was the like son versus father storyline going on that I was on the verge of tears. I was like, I don't even know these people and I can't.
I'm invested. I'm in.
Yes. So I never mind watching WrestleMania. I mean, even knowing nothing, you can just jump in and be like, oh my God, what?
Honestly,
crazy.
You are not wrong.
So
this one was great. We had a lot of moving parts, a little bit more wrestling this week than we had last week.
Yes.
But let's get into it. So in our opener, we had Farouk. I'm lying to you right from the jump. In our opener, it was the Legion of Doom taking on the Nation of Domination. Both Farouk and Ahmed Johnson have been banned from ringside ahead of their 3-on-3 Chicago street fight that's going to be taking place at WrestleMania. I had a note that says Savio Vega looks like his own evil twin. Not an important note by any measure, but
that's the most important note. What do you mean? That's incredible.
But it's just like,
no, literally though,
he looks like he's playing like his evil twin, like in a sitcom. You know what I mean? Like if they just put him in dark clothing and just have him just like pout more, and they're like, yeah, he's bad now. Get it?
He's mean. Yeah. Oh my God. Wait, that's great. They need like that, like they need that like mirror shot of like him in the mirror, like looking at himself, and it's like him in his old costume and him in the new one, and he's just like,
oh my God, yes. It's like that. What am I thinking of? That Lucy, but I Love Lucy episode with the Marx Brothers, where she's like doing the thing in the window and it's just a reflection of like one of the Marx Brothers like dressed up like her. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, wow, I just want him to have like that moment where he's just like,
cute. I wish I was better at editing and could do these, like, make these videos that we discuss. If anyone wants to, like, make these, please do
I
it.
don't have the time, so
The
somebody,
time, the talent, I'll be real. Please.
So, so we get a cutaway to Ahmed Johnson because he's been relegated to the backstage area.
Mhm.
We get his short, sweet, to the point.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just like um Farouk might see some things he might not want to see this coming weekend. So I'm ready for him. I've got backup. Like, we're good. Essentially, was
Mhm.
like the short and sweet of Ahmed Johnson's
Mhm.
little cutaway. And then they cut to Farouk. Um, and he mentions that it was just a start of what is to come, what happened at Madison Square Garden. They cut away to a flashback of Ahmed Johnson taking on mm, insert member of the nation here. And he does the River plunge, and then of course all members of the nation jump into the ring and they like mug him essentially.
Stompy, stompy.
Yeah, so Farouk's saying that's just a little taste. He's like, nobody's more on the same page as me and the nation. And then he starts talking to like Ahmed Johnson like specifically, and then he's like, oh wait, you might not understand, so let me like switch to like Ebonics, and then like just keeps going. And so like, what is the truth of your gripe, Farouk? Like,
Oh,
is he like
oop,
is he enough, not enough, too much? Like, what's happening? Like,
that's what I'm saying.
what is it like? First you were like he knows nothing of the streets, now he's like he only speaks in Ebonics, which is like also a wild term I haven't heard since 1998. So
Yeah.
it's just weird. Like, that whole
It's super
situation
weird.
is
It's
super
super
weird. I
weird.
was just like, what is
I
the
just
gripe?
can't.
What is the
What
gripe?
is the issue?
Like, I
Seriously,
get
like,
it from
like,
Ahmed Johnson's side, like, totally makes sense. I was like,
still,
man ruptured my
fully.
kidney. Got it. That's gonna be on site forever. I
Mhm.
understand his motivation. Farouk, I'm lost.
Fully.
I'm
I'm
lost. And
lost.
also, like,
We've
don't
talked
you
about
have
this
like
before.
so many people that like couldn't you have like another goal by now? Like, shouldn't you have like moved on to something a little
Yeah.
higher up? But no.
It is interesting you say that because it's like they really have been beefing for so long, and we truly, and we've talked about this before, but we still truly don't understand like Farouk's real motivations here. It's
No.
like I just don't understand why you're upset. Like, he's too for the streets, he's not enough of the streets. He's, I don't
I
know,
don't
like,
can't
is
I
it the
don't know.
tights? Because I personally enjoy them,
Mhm.
but I just like I'm not sure what the beef is. Where's the burger? I don't even know.
Right.
Like,
That's what I'm saying. It's just like,
what's going on?
yeah, it's
So
it's it's falling a little flat for
I
me,
wanna
but
see them fight, and I'm excited, especially
no,
because LOD
absolutely.
gets me hype,
Oh my god,
but
yeah.
girl,
Kelsey literally gets chills every time LOD's like
that What a
entrance.
Rush just
Yeah.
thrills me, and it just hasn't gotten old yet, thank God, and they just the way they come out, and I literally said, I was like, "I love that one is Hawk." He was like, "I'm gonna be Hawk," and the other guy was like, "I'm gonna be something, like, more ambiguous, like, just any animal, I'm just an
Right.
animal."
Animal, right.
I love it, I think it's great, but yeah, I wanna see them fight, but also at the same time, I'm ready now. Like, I wanna see them put the paws on each other, but now I'm ready for new things to
Right.
happen for both of them,
I
for
agree.
sure.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm,
yeah.
mhm. Um, so the match continues. It's obviously very hard hitting. We're dealing with the Legion of Doom. They do
Ugh,
not pussyfoot around in that ring.
no.
Also, you look at who's on the opposing team, like Savio and Crush are not small men. So like it
Mm-mm.
is very it's what's the joke that going along around in wrestling a lot now? It's a very meat slapping meat kind of of a match.
It's a real meat
I
slapper.
will show you that video. That is its own separate thing that you will have to see. But yeah, it's a real meat slapper, if you will.
Wow, for more reasons than one. Woo.
So they try and cut back to Farouk for like another little tidbit, two more cents from Farouk, and
Mm,
he's gone. Just
bye.
AWOL.
See ya.
Yeah.
I love
So
that
that
it's like the cameraman just standing there, like, watching Farouk walk away, and then they just cut back, and he's like, I don't know where he went.
No,
Like,
literally, like, get
it's
your
so
ass in front of
funny
the
to
camera
me.
and say something.
I know, he's like,
Like,
"Oh, sorry, actually, he left." Like, I don't know,
right.
it
So,
just
yeah.
cracks me up.
And then they immediately cut to Ahmed Johnson because they're like, well, if we can't talk to Farouk, let's see what's up with Ahmed Johnson. And
Mhm.
he proceeds to give us like his promo, like faced like backed to us, like just hey.
He's like, "I'm focused on what's going on in the ring right now, Vincent."
Right. He's like, I already have my like partners, like I'm watching their back. Wink.
He he literally just wanted us to see the fit, for real. Like,
No,
he was like,
he
"You got it from the front," and now he was like, "What it."
all angles. Well, it's it, and then so he gets attacked from Farouk from behind with a nightstick. But it's just the way that Ahmed Johnson's back was turned for 8.5 minutes that during this promo that I was like, oh well,
Well,
obviously.
if Farouk's not the one in the one is equaling to, if Farouk is not there
Right.
and Ahmed Johnson jauntily has his back just exposed to the elements, you
No,
can kind of see where this is
100%.
going.
He's fully let
Girl.
I have seen less obvious like come-ons at a gay club. I can't. Like he
Where it's
his
just like this, like,
no, yeah.
that's
No,
it.
literally. No, but he's just like, I hope nobody gets me from behind. Like,
Oh God, I hope nobody sees me all exposed and just
vulnerable.
vulnerable, thank you.
Like,
Just all alone.
oh
I really can't. Ugh.
my god, I hope nobody
And
comes up and catches me off guard.
he was wearing his come hither tights.
Oh,
Just
it's what
he
he
kn
was wearing.
and someone hitherto came, so it's what
Yep.
he was wearing. Oh my God.
Um, so
Horrible.
of course, the Nation comes in and attacks the Legion of Doom because we can never just end a match in
Mm-mm.
any which
Mm-mm.
way.
Never.
With the Nation, it's always all 18 of them amoebaing whoever is in the ring and just swarming.
Mhm.
So Ahmed Johnson apparently recovers from being slain in the back room and emerges with a 2x4, which he breaks over one of the two. Oh, I think their name, the little group that's always like singing, is PG-13. I found out today. I had no idea, like not
That's
even
their
a
group
little bit.
name?
Apparently.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't hate that.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be worse, to be honest.
Me too, and I'm wondering, but the only thing is one PG and the other one's 13 because that would piss me off. But, like, if
Right.
they were the group PG-13, they had individual names, that's fine.
Right.
But please don't let one be PG and the
I'm
other one's 13.
sincerely
I will
hoping that that's
really
what the case is. I don't know.
I'm not even gonna look it up because you know what? I don't wanna know. I don't wanna
No, I'd
know.
rather
I'm living in
truly
ignorance in this
ignorance is
one.
bliss. Thank you. So Ahmed Johnson comes in, cracks a 2x4 over one of them, and then like does a Pearl River plunge on the other one, and it was beauteous. He ripped off that stupid jacket. He like just jacks him up into the air and just like you see his soul leave his body upon impact.
Crazy.
And then the craziest part of all is the Legion of Doom performed the Doomsday Device, their finisher, on D'Lo Brown, and D'Lo Brown goes like he flips inside out. This man does a full like 360 just
Mm-mm.
from the impact of how hard he was struck.
Dead.
Like it was crazy. Kelsey
D'Lo Brown.
audibly gasped upon seeing it. She was
I
like,
did.
she was
I
like,
did.
"Oh my god!" And I
I
like,
was scared.
it was intense. It was like
Killing me.
it was like one of the more visually like stimulating like times I've seen that finisher.
Yeah, is D'Lo Brown gonna, like, be more of a presence later
Yes.
on? Okay, great, because
Yes,
I'm
yes,
like,
yes.
this man takes a licking and keeps on sticking because don't forget, he was the one that Ahmed Johnson smashed through the table with
Um,
all the stuff, like, a few
mhm.
weeks ago or whatever, and he did, like, flipperooed, blah, la, la, into
Yeah.
that table
So
too, and so
so the Nation is gonna go through a little bit of like of a evolution. So we're gonna lose a couple of the I'm gonna just call them ancillary
I was like, "That's
members.
fine.
And
That's
then
fine."
it becomes more of like a foursome, fivesome, like of actual like the everybody there is a wrestler. So
I'm into that. I'm into
yeah,
that. That's what it needs.
yeah,
Seriously.
right,
We need
right.
to regroup, rebrand. We
It
need to
needs it just needs
manifest. We
yeah,
need
we just need to find like the heart of it. You know what I mean? Like it's just
yeah.
there's a lot of fluff, a lot of
Where's the
stuff
plot?
that just comes to the surface that you can just scrape off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
a lot of excess fat we need to
all right. So in our next match, we have Hunter Hearst Helmsley taking on Flash Funk. We finally get a name for China. Up to this point, she has just been like that mysterious woman. Is
mhm.
she a woman? It's always that. It's every time.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
literally, who is that mysterious woman? She's huge. Is she a woman? Every time. Like
Yeah.
you're just like,
A
okay, girl.
bionic lady, like every time,
Right.
something akin to that. But
Um, and then they do like a little like vignette of kind of like how she has made her way into the corner of Hunter Hearst Helmsley,
mhm.
which it really just to me made it seem like she was the one competing in the match. beca-
Fully, it really felt like
because
that.
it was really like, what's Hunter been doing lately, really, like besides
Just
hiding behind
wondering.
her.
Just wondering. I know he
Oh,
walked in first, but she walked in stronger, fiercer, harder, better, faster, stronger. Just
right.
saying.
That's all I'm saying.
Mhm.
So the Funkettes had a new set to navigate this week. They had to make their way down the ramp, and to their credit, they adjusted the choreo.
Mm.
Still way too long, but they
Oh my
adjusted the
god.
choreo.
They did. There was sliding, there was dips, there was use of the ramp. It was kudos. Because I literally was
Right.
like, "Ooh, how are they gonna handle the choreo with this?" Nailed it. Nailed it.
Yeah.
I
They thought
do
about it.
I do wanna say I give so much credit to the Funkettes because they kind of, like I love how, like, ambiguous they are because, like, China is there because she wants to, like, defend Hunter Hearst Helmsley. The Funkettes are literally there for aesthetic, and that's it. They're like,
No.
"Bye, girl. I don't get involved. I don't know you." Like,
No, 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 no,
"I'm here to
no.
get my dancing check and
Eh,
take your little hat and
goodbye.
sayonara." Like,
Yeah.
I don't get involved in the mess.
No, 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 no,
Bye.
no.
Literally, I
And
love
my
that
thing is
about
like,
them.
honestly, like it very well could be the same Funkettes every week. I have no idea. I have
So
n-
true.
I have no
I'm
idea
actually not sure.
because
I
we
don't
only
know.
see them for the collective like 16 and a half minutes that is his intro, and then you never see them again. Like, so
16 and a half minutes is so accurate.
like
It's so true. Yeah, they're just like, "Okay, well, that was our role. See ya." Love that about them.
I wrote down that China just has like an aura about her. They like cut
Mhm.
to her like in the ring, and everyone just kind of like gives her space. Like you know what I mean? Like
She has
everyone
a
just kind of like,
radius.
yeah, like adjusts to like her bubble. And you're just like, ooh, that's power. I don't
She's
know.
like an opposite force magnet. Like, she's, like, positive and or negative, and everyone else is positive, and so they try and get close, and they're like, "No." Like, it
No,
doesn't they,
that it
like,
just yeah,
physically
it just
can't.
feels so like I don't know, she just feels like larger than life.
Yeah. She
And
emulates
right. It's just something about her. I loved the Bischoff sucks signs like in the
work.
crowd, and now that we have kind of a better like background to all of this, especially like the
Yes.
timelines. Speaking of which, excellent time for a little segue. If you guys
Mhm.
didn't catch our New to Wrestling podcast After Dark episode last week, we talked about the Monday Night War, specifically the like genesis of. So
Yes.
kind of how both companies uh not like started, but both companies got started and like made their ways and what kind of plays were made to kind of kick off this confrontation that will go on for like a couple years.
Yeah,
But
the
this was the
chess
first,
game.
yes, this was the first time Kelsey has been um made awares of all of this.
Mhm.
So it's a super exciting time because now something I want you to pay attention to is the crowd signs more frequently.
Well, now
So,
I understand more of them. Like,
right.
there was one that was right behind the announce table and just said, "Ted Turner farted." I
Oh my
literally
god, so funny. So funny.
sometimes less is more. Let me just
On
say, sometimes just 3 words, that's
right.
it, and
No,
it's
it's
just
beautiful.
so
Like
impactful.
give me that like that prehistoric meme culture is essentially like what this is.
Prehistoric meme culture, great band name. I
Amazing.
I love that. I also just love a classic Nitro sucks.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Just get it right off your chest. Who
But I
cares?
also want you to just pay attention to how many ECW stuff you
Uh-huh.
start seeing in the crowds also. Um I'm just yeah, now that we have kind of that frame of reference, we're gonna dive into the Monday Night Wars a little bit more this week on our After Dark episode. And then next week, we are going to really dive into the rise and fall of ECW so that Kelsey kind of has a real full picture of wrestling in the late 90s. So we
Yeah.
are on this ship with the WWF. We're riding it. We now have kind of a background on WCW and what they were up to, and then we're going to really get into the nitty-gritty of ECW, which I think just based on our conversations during the show will be really your bread and butter, really where you're going to I think this might be where you like actually fall in love with wrestling.
Word. I love
Because
that.
if ECW was made for anybody, it is you.
Oh my god, I'm so
So,
flattered by that. Wow, thank you. Well, you know I love Paul. I love Paul so much. It's so crazy how I know so little about him and would actively die for him on
mm,
site. It's just so
so would his
crazy.
team. So,
I know, and that's what I'm saying. Loyal to the soil. I love that. Love the
ugh,
energy.
amazing. So back to the match. Thank you for staying with me on that long-winded tangent. Um, it's very back and forth. They're very evenly matched. Again, they're both kind of in that Intercontinental Championship level. Um, Jerry does make a point on commentary about Funk's entrance, much to our just
I hate when I have to side with Jerry, but sometimes he really does spit facts, and I'll admit it.
yeah, honestly. So China makes her presence felt all over this match. At one point, Flash Funk has Triple H in a pinning predicament. She grabs the leg, pulls him off, and like
Mhm.
she's so strong, she nearly like yanks him out of the ring, like
Mhm.
pulls him off. Um, My favorite part of this entire match though is they the Flash Funk gets like some kind of reversal and it just cuts to China on the outside and she is just cross-armed deadpanned. She looks like she's never experienced emotion. Like it's crazy. And it's just like the way that they cut to her was just so funny.
It's
So
so
like
because it was like from the other side of the ring, and, like, it was, like, through probably, like, the bottom little
rope.
gap, and, like, it, like, the whole thing happens, and it just zooms in on her from, like, the other side, and she's like the only emotion she's ever experienced is seethe. Like,
Right.
that's it, just seething. Like, that
Oh,
just
I just something about the way it's something about the slow zoom that really just tickled me. I
it
just
took
like
me out, it
I
really
could
did.
not. I was just like, "Girl," I was like, "They did you dirty on that one. They did not need to cut to you there because you were not paying attention."
She's
Like
like, "I
no,
love it."
fully. So at one point, Flash Funk is trying to climb the top rope. China once again makes her presence felt. She climbs
Mm.
up there, distracts Flash Funk enough so that Triple H can get the pedigree. He gets the victory, and we now see why Hunter has her in his corner because
Mm.
she pulls through with the results. It has
Yeah.
been a revolving door of who is managing this dude for the last 6 months between
Mhm.
Mr. Perfect leaving, the random guy that was his butler, not butler sort of thing, Jerry one time being his tag team partner and like begging for his love. Like it was just it's been weird. It's been weird
Oh
on
my
the Hunter
god.
vs. Helmsley front, and I'm glad that we're getting something that feels a little bit more that feels right.
Yeah, no, fully. I fully agree, and, like I said, it has such a flavor that I love. It's
Mhm.
like the again, like, she's just so much more, obviously, than a valet, than a companion, like, she's got the juice, like, she's got
Mhm.
the juice, girl. Like,
A
I'm so here for it, so here for it.
Amen. But we do get a little surprise cut to Shawn Michaels entering the building, unbeknownst to us. We are delighted. He's been out with an injury, doing rehab for the last like month or so. So we haven't really
Mhm.
seen too much of him. An update here or there, but it's I love that man. It's great to see him.
Love to see him.
All right, guys. So this next one was a bit interesting. So we get back to the show after like a whatever would be a commercial break, and in the ring is Vader and Mankind, but not the Vader and Mankind smaller versions. So apparently in all of these wrestlers are apparently from Mexico, and they have all of these little people do like mini versions of popular wrestlers that we know and love in the WWF. Apparently that is a thing. I, Unbeknownst to me, I
Yeah,
was not prepared for any of this.
not at all. Really
Very
took us off guard.
I don't it wasn't like they didn't expressly say anything necessarily that would be offensive, I guess. And it wasn't like presented in a way that was like, "Hey, like laugh at this," but you can
Yes.
kind of tell that that's kind of what it is,
Yes.
right?
The intention was behind it. Yeah, I agree. There wasn't anything explicitly said like, "Ha ha, he," like, let's joke about what this is," but there was definitely an undertone of that.
Right.
But I couldn't tell if it was, like, intentional or they're just, like, there is that general undertone, like, because Vince, I feel like, was trying to really sell what amazing wrestlers they are because they were
Right.
amazing, but like, there was definitely a flavor
Right.
of
Well, I
something.
mean, it didn't help that Jerry was like giggling like the whole time. Like
Yeah, that's true.
and
That'll do it right there.
right, and it's not like they were phenomenal athletes. It's like it
Yeah.
just I just like there was just something about the way that it was like just presented that it just like it was just off putting, and I don't think would happen today. Um,
I think even just the and I guess I'm not sure if that's actually who they wrestle as in Mexico, but also just like the name like Mini Vader, Mini Mankind. I think
right,
that's like a little something, you know what I mean? Like I
right,
don't
yeah,
know. It just is like because if they just were like who they are, I mean, then
hmm,
that's a whole other thing, but I don't know, it's just like it was a little it felt kind of like a spoof.
yes, yeah,
It had spoof energy, even though it wasn't necessarily treated as such.
right, right. No, it was just it took us
So off
off
guard.
guard, off
So
guard
off guard.
because it doesn't really lend anything to WrestleMania. Um, so it's just like, why is it on this card? Like, I'm very lost. But they were
Amazing.
super athletic. Um,
Incredible.
Mini Goldust, crazy. Mini Goldust is nuts. He
And
was
was, like,
throwing
so
himself.
in character.
So in character. He had
He did the whole thing.
the body touches, the tongue. He was throwing himself off of everything, which was amazing.
Mhm.
So we get a kind of like a quick like small package kind of finish, and the coolest thing in this whole scenario is after the match is over, Mini Vader's like on the outside just like walking back, I guess. I don't really know
Mhm.
what prompted this. When Mini Mascarita Sagrada Jr. jumps like off of the stage and just clears like distance, like gets
Distant.
airtime and
Mhm.
just like cross bodies like Vader. And we're just like, what is happening? Like where did this come from?
Yeah, he did, like, a full-on stage dive, but he, like I don't know, he was like an Olympic diver, like, he flew, like,
Right.
so far, and yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Right. No, it was very impressive. It was just not what anybody was
Expected.
expecting on this card at
Nope,
all.
not at
Uh,
all.
so next we get an announcement from Gorilla Monsoon because apparently there was lots of rumors going around about the main event today and whether or not it should be a WWF Championship match. And basically, Gorilla was like, no, it's what I said it was going to be.
I said what I said.
Right. He's like, I wasn't planning on being here. I'm busy. So the fact that I got to come and do this is extra. So he's like, I get that Undertaker fans are not pleased. However, I was like, Bret Hart has not been pleased for a very long time. And he has, according to Gorilla Monsoon, is going to get the title shot that he deserves.
Mhm,
Quote unquote.
mhm.
So So the main event will be a steel cage match, and it will be for the title. So there are lots of factors going on there, because it essentially has the outcome of that match will affect four individuals, and two matches at WrestleMania. So this is
Mhm.
like we are a week before WrestleMania, and we don't even know technically what the title match is yet,
Mhm.
which
Wild.
is unheard of, especially up to like this point. Normally those things are locked in. So that's going to be something to look forward to in our main event. But then we get a little interview with Bret Hart and from Kevin Kelly. I don't know why I struggled so much on his
I
name.
thought you were gonna say from Canada, and I was like, "I'm pretty sure he was there."
No, no, no.
Like,
He was very
he
there.
was very there.
um, basically, this is like Bret's opportunity to just air his grievances, talk about
Yeah.
what he's got going on.
You know,
Basically, he talks about like the attitude in the WWF is essentially you scratch my back, I'll stab yours.
work.
And I was like, okay, all right.
That's a good
Essentially,
one.
right. Essentially, he goes on to be like, I will win. And like, he's like, don't worry, Undertaker, you will get your shot and then you can get in line with everybody else. He's
Mhm. Whether you
very,
like it or not.
right. He's very, uh, adamant that he will be leaving tonight a 5-time WWF champion. Uh,
Mm.
he goes on to address Stone Cold, his opponent at WrestleMania, calling him a lousy, stinking hyena, and that
Work.
he is in for the worst thrashing of his life, and
Mm.
that he won't be able to scream loud enough, I quit. Which, listen, a masterful promo from Bret. I
It
have,
was really good.
yeah, I was like, he said everything he needed to say. He didn't do too much.
Mhm.
He came out like looking like a really good contender for the title match tonight.
Mhm.
So firing on all cylinders there.
Yeah. Big fan.
Big fan. So next we have the Sultan with Bob Backlund and the Iron Sheik taking on Mike Bell. This is a squash. This is a squash match. We know what we're
Yeah.
doing here. The really the most interesting part about all of this is that Rocky Maivia is on commentary, which is really the first time we hear him too much, other than like post-match interviews where he's all like, "This is the best day of my life. I'm just happy to be here."
Mhm. Mhm.
So
So true.
when I tell you this is a squash match, I will essentially tell you all of the moves that happened. It was a pile driver, a splash from the top rope, and then the camel clutch.
That's
Done.
it. I
That's
said
it.
4 seconds. Sultan wins in 4 seconds.
100%. Mike Bell, never stood a chance. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Um, essentially the Sultan comes down after, gets like in the Rock's face. He goes to like grab the Intercontinental Championship, and the Rock's like, this is mine. He's like, you want to get this, you got to go through me. So take a step back, please. And basically they start getting into it, like exchanging words more, and the Rock's like, oh, like you want to go like now? He's like, we don't have to
Mhm.
wait. And
Yeah.
that's when Tony Atlas comes in and is like, whoa, whoa, whoa there, brother.
Hey, girl.
So essentially stopping The Rock from making like a rookie mistake, which is like walking into a fight that he's outnumbered in. Because Bob Backlund and the Iron Sheik, while no longer in their prime, are both like, Bob Backlund's a former WWF champion, also like one of the longest reigning WWF champions ever. Um,
I did not know that.
yeah.
All I know is
Um,
he's the longest reigning, most annoying person in my life.
I, amen.
So,
Um, and the Iron Sheik is also no slouch. So
no, that I know. My dad even is like, "Oh, the Iron Sheik, that's so cool."
yeah, so The Rock would have really been outnumbered and out strategized if he had actually walked into that one, because
Mhm.
there's no way the two of them with as much experience that they had wouldn't have had something up their sleeve to make sure that he walks into WrestleMania injured AF.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
good for Tony Atlas looking out.
Yeah. Can I briefly mention the daddy thing?
Yes.
Okay, so really quick, there was an interlude about like a marketing meeting for WrestleMania, and like it's like they're giving all their ideas, la la la. Jerry's like, we got to do hats, we got to do 10-gallon hats because I'm Southern and that's what we do.
Right.
But then And this is funny just because Xavier and I were just talking about how, like, everyone in the front row is, like, wearing something that we would wear today because, like, the 90s have made such a comeback in terms of clothes and
Right.
aesthetic and whatever, and literally the 2 guys that were, like, advertising, I forget whichever pay-per-view it was where they were just, like, sitting in the ring waiting for, like, 14 years,
The Royal
or
Rumble?
sitting in the arena. Yeah, the Royal Rumble, I think. But either way, the guy's like, "Well, I don't know about that, but I'm just saying this WrestleMania hockey jersey is daddy." And I was like,
Literally, and I
"What?"
screamed, like,
I was
we were
like,
like, "Everything comes
"Nothing
back,
is
everything comes back
new.
around." He
Nothing is new." I was like, "Daddy?"
he said, "This hockey jersey is daddy,
He
straight
said, "This
face, not
her."
period, on God."
He was like, "Mwah." Like, he
Like,
literally was like,
I was like, "Sir, daddy? Okay."
"Daddy." Wouldn't have been my choice. I wouldn't even today, I would've been like, "Okay, dad." Like, I
I'm about to
I was
start
full
though.
no, fully. I was flabber and now I'm gonna say all my outfits, I'm like, "Okay, this outfit is daddy." Like,
That's uh,
I was
choked.
flabbergasted, I was taken off guard, nothing is new. I just really
That was
can't.
amazing. No,
But
really.
1990, what is this, 7?
7? Mhm.
Girl,
Is back.
1997.
B Back
We're
with a
we're back.
vengeance,
We're
apparently.
back. Crazy.
So, next we get the love of our life, Shawn Michaels, comes out for an
Yay.
interview with Vince. First he like thanks the fans for, being patient with him as he is self-proclaimed the most emotional wrestler out there right
So
now.
funny.
Um and we get an update on his injury, and essentially he will be going back to Dr. Andrews, who is like the WWF surgeon, and hopefully that he will be cleared to compete in the next couple months. So that's exciting.
Months.
I know that was a bit of a downer,
I thought he
but
was gonna say weeks, and then he said months. I was hoping days. He's like, "Next couple hours." Like, "I'm ready." Like, but
right,
he said months. Little
right.
disheartening, but still,
But he
we're
did leave us
excited.
with that the next time, or like when he does come back, he's like, "I'm gonna be flying around this ring as much as I always have, and the clothes will be coming off." And
Word.
what a way to leave us,
Thank
really.
you. Thank you, Sean, because that's what I wanted to hear.
Right. And then he goes, "I have a bone to pick." And we're like, "Uh-oh." I was like, "Oh, here comes the promo part of this promo."
Yeah.
And and he goes, and he's like, "And I have a bone to pick with you, Vince." And Vince is like, "Oh God." Because this was not Vince's night. Like,
Oh, no, it was not.
um,
Whoa.
and he's like, "I couldn't help but notice while I'm sitting at home that WrestleMania is around the corner." And
Mm.
he's like, "I don't understand how you can have WrestleMania without inviting Shawn Michaels.
Moi.
Like, you're gonna have WrestleMania without me?" And he's like, "So, since you've so rudely neglected to invite me, I will have to invite myself." And so apparently Shawn Michaels will be joining Vince McMahon on commentary for WrestleMania, which is pretty exciting.
So exciting.
And he will also be at the Slammy Awards since he is nominated for a few.
Woohoo.
So Shawn Michaels is slowly but surely making his way back into the WWF, back into
Love.
our good graces.
Thank
Not
God.
that he was out of our good graces, just I would like him to grace us again.
I would,
Uh,
yeah, fully. I'd like him to be in closer proximity.
right, right, right. So we move on from the interview with Shawn, and it cuts to the Undertaker by the panels of the steel cage that will be constructed later. And he's big pissed. He's mad about it. So he just like takes one of the panels and just like knocks it over and like
So
scurries away
funny.
into the night.
I know. They're like, Undertaker trying to destroy the steel cage. And I'm like, he just knocked it over. But all right. He literally just went like, and like
Yeah,
threw it and
no,
was like, ran
no,
off.
yeah. And
Like,
we were like, okay.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, I get where they're going with this,
Yeah, he
but
had a
it
little
was just funny.
tantrum.
It was just like, "Meh,
Yeah, he had a little tantrum, which is funny because he's a big, 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 big man. And
big
it
big
just
man."
make me laugh. But like, yeah, they were like, he's trying to destroy the cage. And it's like, okay.
I was like, that is wholly generous, but okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is crazy he was able to knock it over because it is a gigantic steel cage wall.
Right.
So, yes, impressive, but still, it's just funny.
So in our next match, we have Vader taking on the British Bulldog, which is our way of building up to the tag team championship match when Vader and Mankind will be taking on the Bulldog and Owen Hart for the titles. So it was I'm obsessed with. the British Bulldog never ceases to amaze me. He is so
Yeah.
strong, so strong.
He's amazing, and it's so funny how when we first started this podcast, I really because they were like the heels. Not the heels necessarily, but they're like you don't really wanna root for them. They're kind of
Right.
like annoying, whatever. And now I'm like, I just love and respect both of them, Owen Hart and British Bulldog, so much. Especially in this match, Bulldog, he's just so strong. He's so amazing. It looks effortless to him. Like
It's
he's
crazy.
just outrageous.
Absolutely bonkers. At one point, the Bulldog hits Vader with a vertical suplex, which is insane
Girl.
because that is like deadlifting 450 pounds above your head,
Mm-mm.
holding it there so that
Mm-mm.
everybody can see that you have this 450-pound man in the air and then dropping him. Like,
Mm-mm.
that's crazy. Like,
And
that's
yeah.
absolutely bonkers
And
because
like go off Vader's core strength. Let's
no,
go.
I agree. I was gonna
Let's go,
say, like,
girl.
shout out to Vader for making that look amazing. Because a
Amazing.
lot of times, like, it's really hard for bigger people, like, when
To
they're not used to getting lifted because they're typically on a roster are only so many people that can do it and do it safely.
yeah.
So they're typically like not used to it, and it's also just really hard for them because they're generally like either really tall or really weighty to like get like all the way vertical like that. Vader was like a straight line, like
He was like
all the way up.
a cheer squad member. He was
No,
ready. He was like
100%. He said, "Ready? Okay." And like um it
fist clap with the
oh, with the cup.
with the cup. I can't.
So we go to like a little like mini commercial break or like what would be a commercial break, and then all of a sudden Vader's like on top again. We were like, What
Uh
happened?" We
like
missed
Vader
on
was like
Glee.
out of the seriously, Vader was like out of the ring because Bulldog hit him with a clothesline that like knocked him over the top rope, falls out. And the last thing we saw for a commercial break was Bulldog like following out to the ring to like fight with him outside of the ring. And then we come
Hmm.
back and suddenly Bulldog's on the ground incapacitated and Vader's about to like jump on
Yeah.
him. And I was
So
like, how
Vader hits the Vader splash in the corner, and at some after hits a Samoan drop on the Bulldog, and that's when he has him like across his back and like drops him,
Mhm.
which looks just brutal because like
Horrible.
the Bulldog like just like grabs his ribs immediately. I was like, that knocked the air out of him. He was like,
Oh,
Jesus.
that hurt. That deflated one lung. Like it looked
No,
really bad.
fully. He said, um, um so
I'm so
things
sorry. I
you
wasn't
didn't need an
expecting that.
invitation for,
I
yet
wasn't
I'm
expecting
here to entertain.
that. It was like lose my breath, Destiny's Child.
uh
I just wasn't expecting you to he said
the thing is, like, I have no idea what that's
"Uh,
gonna sound like on a microphone. It could
it's
just be
gonna be
nothing.
silence, which is even funnier because he just gets the air knocked out of him and he can't say anything. Like it's even better. Like
Oh my god. So Mankind makes his presence known in this match when he grabs Vader's leg while the Bulldog has Vader lifted, attempting
Mhm.
to do either like a power slam, power bomb, something. So he's got
Mhm.
Vader up. Mankind grabs his leg. Owen comes over from the other side of the ring. Amazing that he had time to drop all of the titles and the slammy that he was.
Oh. Oh yeah, because they had a new slammy. Pissed me off.
Oh yeah, I guess they got him a new one.
Made me mad.
And so then, as soon as Mankind grabs Vader's ankle, Owen's on top of Mankind. The
Mhm.
referee calls for the disqualification because
Duh.
obviously. And then they start double teaming Owen. Like Vader and Mankind are all over it. And Bulldog, bless his heart, comes
Blessed.
in, pops Paul right in the mush,
Right
grabs
in the
the
kisser.
grabs the urn, and then knocks out the other two. And I was like, truly, yes.
The people's hero. Because they set it up like you think he's gonna run in and save Owen, obviously, which he does, but Paul's like creeping up on the thing and he just like, let me just one real quick detour. Bah! Like just I just
No,
love it.
literally.
And then the
He's like, I
urn,
will get to you in a second.
he's like, oh, hold on, let me grab this. Bah! Takes the urn. And then I was like, a little the urn is such a touch, is such a because it's like,
Ah,
oh, you want to play around, you want to play games. I've seen this
mhm.
urn cause too much devastation and destruction. Let me try it out.
Right.
Bing,
Bop.
bing. Love to see it.
Amazing. It was
Love
just
to
like
see it.
a drive-by, like
Earning.
yeah, I was trying to think of like what is the word I wanted to use. I was like, yeah, it's a drive-by earning. That's crazy. Like, ah,
Unbelievable. So good. God bless.
100%. So in our next match, we had Billy Gunn in a squash match. I can never like put
Squash
the
squash.
yeah, I can never put the right ending on match after I say squash. In
Yeah,
a
that's a hard one.
squash match against what I have written down to describe him as NPC Aaron Ferguson. Like, because
Poor Aaron Ferguson.
it
Wow.
very much so felt like nobody was at the controls with this one.
Not a
No
soul.
one like your buddy went to the bathroom and you're just playing like
Get
you're
your
just
stats up.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're getting your licks in.
Fully. This poor man, the way he shrieked was beyond me. It was actually
No,
making me uncomfortable. I was like,
no,
"Ooh,
literally, you were like, oh, you're not like they're selling, and then there's like that man's in pain, and
that
that
man's
man was
quitting tonight." Like
yeah, that
this
man's
is the end of
done
the line.
wrestling. Um, so um
Listen,
so obviously Aaron Ferguson is not the point of this match. So Billy Gunn, the entire time that he is like making his way through this match, is just having words with Ken Shamrock, who has made his way onto commentary for this match. And he's just spending too much time. Just you like what you see, you like the submission, like blah blah blah.
I'm
It's just
so
like
disappointed in him.
right. It's just like I was like, baby, like, are you trying to get him to like pick you up in his Camaro and like take you around the town? Like, what
Yeah,
is
like
this? Like, you're really? It's like when your crush walks in with like his group and you want him to notice, so you just start speaking really loudly for no reason.
you just laugh out of
It's
nowhere.
that energy. Like it's just like
Fully.
it's very pick me and it needs to relax.
Okay, honestly, full stop, Billy Gunn is a pick me. Like, Billy Gunn is such a pick me.
Oh my god, you're not
Ew.
listen, like if it's not sunny, apparently it's Ken. Like
Boop. I mean, that is great now that you say it. And I have to say, I'm really disappointed because when he came back last week, I felt like he had a different energy. I was like, "Oh, are we gonna see this, like, new Billy Gunn?" Like, I'm so excited because, like, he was out for so long, like, this whole thing. And then he came back today with the BS. I was like, "Billy, I didn't wanna see this again from you. I'll be so
no, I thought
real."
we had
Like,
moved on. I
I
thought
thought
we'd
we were
moved
seeing
on.
an evolved Billy, something new, something fresh. Like, he's in such amazing shape, and I just was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, like, I didn't want pick me Billy Gunn again." Wow, he is such a pick me. I can't
Mhm.
believe that just, like, unlocked something for me. Wow.
So after he wins the match with an armbar, he goes over to Ken Shamrock and is like, you you're you're Ken Shamrock? Like, you don't look that tough to me."
Oh my god.
And Ken is like just like amused. He's just like, "Oh, you want me to go in there? Like,
Mm.
you is that actually what you want?" And he's like, "Really,
Mhm.
really think about that. Like, is that what you want?" He's like, this is where you work. Remember that. Like I was like, "You have to come back here."
Yeah, your boss is sitting right next to me. You wanna do this right now?
Right. So
Alright.
Ken goes, he's like, "I've never backed down from a challenge before, and I'm certainly not gonna start with this chump." So like, okay. So he goes into the ring, and Billy wants to like have some kind of like submission off, which also sus.
Bro.
Like,
Submission off.
yeah.
That's all I can't I don't even have words for that. Just long sigh.
So
Just
Ken
long s
immediately puts him in like in some kind of armbar. It's like this time Billy's on his stomach instead of doing it on his back. It looks crazy. It looks like it hurts like a lot.
Mhm.
So Ken lets him up out of the graciousness of his heart and is
Mm.
like, "Are you good now? like,
Like, "Are we done?"
have you had enough? Like, did I make my point?" And
Mhm.
Billy's like, "I bet you can't do it twice." And it's like, "Baby, fool me once." Like,
I
like
mean, just
sure,
be like, "Do you wanna kiss?" Like, just go like, "Bet you
right,
can't throw me
100%.
around again." Like, "Okay, Billy."
Okay, Billy. Pick
Mm.
me, pick me.
Swear I can't.
Um, so he he goes to like lunge at Ken Shamrock. Ken Shamrock basically just rolls through, trips him, gets him in an ankle lock, and is just like, and just has him. And once again, he lets him go by the grace of God. He's like, all
Mm,
right. He's like, do you get it now? He's like, I'm not messing with you. If you do this again, I'll break it. Like you can
mhm.
audibly hear him be like, I will break your leg. And um then you think like Billy's like gets the point. No, he just starts
No,
losing his mind, grabs a steel chair, and just starts like trying to make his way back in the ring. And you're like, this is not a good look for you,
it's
baby.
really not. I will say, like, I love Billy can really sell. Like,
Hmm.
he really sold the submission things, but, like, just it's giving sour grapes. Like, I just oh,
Right.
you lost the challenge you initiated, so now you're gonna what, beat him with a chair? It's just in
Right.
front of everybody? We all saw what just happened. Like,
Right.
we're not gonna be like, "Good job, Billy." Like, what do you
Right.
mean? What's
Right.
happening here? So
Um,
stupid.
right. So we'll see what's going on with that. Ken Shamrock does make his way to the WWF. So I am imagining they're trying to like plant some seeds for him to have like some early feuds after
Work.
after WrestleMania. Like while he is the referee for the title, like the main title match, I
Mhm.
doubt they're going to just drop him into the main title picture
No
right
way.
away.
No way, no
So
way. Wouldn't it be
my guess is this is kind of him starting a feud before he like actually starts. I guess
fun?
planting
I
the
love it.
seeds of a feud, I guess I should say.
Yeah, I would love it if Bart and Ken Shamrock teamed up
Interesting.
against Billy. I just wanna see them fight
Ooh, but who
again.
would be Billy's tag team partner?
I don't know,
Billy needs some
but
friends.
or, like, they're just, like, I don't know. Or does, like, Bart come back and I don't know, we're, like I'm really launching ahead here, but,
Right, right,
like,
right.
I'm just so curious what's gonna happen.
So as Billy is making his way up the ramp, we get Stone Cold Steve Austin on the Titantron because they're really
Hey,
making good use of
girl.
that. Um, And Vince asks, like, "Oh, like you must be impressed by like what you just saw by Ken Shamrock." He's like, "Not impressed. Ken doesn't belong here. It's my ring. It's my company.
I
I don't get it.
can't.
What makes
I
you
love
think I
him.
would be impressed by him?" Like, and you're like, "Oh, okay." He calls him an overrated bag of trash, and you're like, "Okay, sounds good."
I
And
love him so
essentially, he's
much.
like, he better keep, like do what he said he's gonna do and call the match down the middle because if he sticks his big nose in, I'm going to take his lights out. So I was like, oh, there we go. All right. And then he's asked about the main event picture because if Bret Hart wins that match this evening, he will go on to have a title match at WrestleMania. And he goes on to say, listen, by hook or crook, Bret Hart will be leaving the WWF champion because by at the end of WrestleMania, you're going to be looking at the new champion. So
Mhm.
whatever I got to do to make sure that happens, we're gonna make sure that happens.
Mhm.
Which foreshadowing. He tries.
Fu a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we get a promo from Psycho Sid where
Girl.
he's also asked about the Bret Hart and that whole situation. And wow, this one was just hard. He just is screaming. He's screaming the entire time. Like it's not even like not like a well placed forceful inflections.
Nope.
Nope, screaming from the rip.
1 decibel, and that's max the whole time. I
Right.
literally just wrote Psycho Sid ruptures larynx during his promo.
I don't know what he said. I don't know. Like
No, just I literally said it just sound all I heard was, Donnie from the Wild Thornberrys. Just
no, that's how
loud
it felt.
gibberish.
And he was so like abrasive that he scared whoever was like holding the mic. Like
Yeah,
upon
like
like starting the yeah, they like
th
jumped. You're like, I was like, dude, I was like, there's like passionate and there's you're just yelling. Like you are no longer intelligible. Like we can't understand you.
Psycho Sid, he just can't win. He just, like he either overcorrects or undercorrects. Like, he just cannot find that happy medium, or he does very rarely, where you're like,
Right.
"Okay, that was good," but, like, this, again, didn't intake anything because the whole time I was like this.
Couldn't even.
"Why are you yelling at me? I just don't know
And
what's
that's
happening."
very much the like the promo style of like the 80s. That's like your Ultimate
Yeah.
Warrior, your Hulk Hogan. Like Macho Man was actually like he was also in that same like wheelhouse, but he was more interesting with his promos.
And
Like
I feel like he was
he was just
subtle.
better. Like he was just a more well spoken wrestler than most the Macho
Mm.
Man. At the time, they're a lot more well spoken now. I don't want to like cast a
Yeah, yeah,
broad
yeah,
net
yeah,
that
yeah.
they're
Of course, yeah.
that they're like, um,
Yeah.
but it's just it's just very a promo of yesteryear. Especially nowadays where we have like Bret Hart's not yelling the whole time. Shawn Michaels isn't yelling the whole time. Like Stone Cold, like, yeah, he's angry. He's not yelling the whole
Yeah,
time. Like,
totally. And I think it's the same it's this, like, it's goes hand in hand with the physical changes happening to the WWE because it's like, instead of, like, big, strong yell, la, it's, like, technical, more interesting speeches, storylines, thought
right.
out thought processes. I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand.
Agreed. Very
So
much so.
I mean, that makes sense because, like, right now, Psycho Sid is just big, mean, I yell. And, like,
Right.
Vader is kind of similar, though I love Vader, no
Hmm.
disrespect to Vader, but it's like he's big, he goes, "It's Vader time, yell, yell, yell." Like, that's
Right.
his thing.
Right.
But, like, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Stone Cold, it's like it's different. There's more nuance things, like, there's
Right.
just yeah.
There's just more to it. Like because
Yeah, substance.
at the end of the day, it like and we've said this before, most of his promos feel very generic as far as like this is his promo. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is just what
Yeah.
he does. It's just like recently I just felt like he has not been like on track, which is as
Yes.
far as like the talking piece goes, and especially like in this title reign thus far, like specifically. Like the first one he had a few more moments of like clarity, I guess.
Mhm.
But I just feel like since he's won the title like this time, it's just been like chaotic. And yes, there's been a lot of chaos generally, but I feel like he hasn't found like his place in all the chaos. Like he feels like almost like an afterthought,
Yes.
which is not what you want when you're the title holder.
No, and again, it's why it's so interesting to me that people love him so much because I just don't get it. Like, I just don't see it because there's nothing to me and again, he's an amazing wrestler. There's obviously something to him that people like, but to me, I just don't buy into his story because I don't even know what it is. Like, I really don't understand, like, what's
Psycho Sid's
happening.
deal is
Yeah, and, like, I don't know, but it's funny because 'cause I'm like, "Okay, does because it's so he's the title holder, and I feel like we really don't even see him that much, and yes, he's in this humongous, like, match, this feud or whatever, but
but
I
it's
just am like,
so peppered with other storylines and
"Yeah,
other people that it like it doesn't feel like he's the one carrying the story of the title.
yes,
You know what I mean?
fully," and he has the title, like, the most important title that you can get,
Right.
and I'm just like, I just don't really what are you doing here? Like,
Right.
I feel bad, but, like, what are you doing here? And again, that might not even be his fault, like, it might just be, like, the position that he's been put in, but
Right.
I don't even know. Just
Right.
it's just so
It just
weird.
yeah, it just like I don't sense like champion from him like
Yeah.
this reign. The last one it felt a little, you know, like maybe because it was like more pronounced or more intentional, being that like really all given Shawn Michaels is supposed to be the champion during all of this. So maybe last time it was a more like thought
Mm.
out title run, whereas this one's kind of a title run of circumstances. So like
It
maybe
ye
that had something to do with it.
Now that you say that, it really and I was thinking this, but I was like, I don't know. I It really does kind of give, like, interim champion, like,
Hmm.
this wasn't like you said, like, we talk about this all the time. WWE has to pivot on, like, a moment's notice all the time, and it's like they probably wanted, like, the Stone Cold, the Bret Hart, the Shawn Michaels, the Undertaker, like, that kind of
Hmm.
mishmash, and it just didn't end up that way, and so they're like, "How can we pivot?" And it kind of which sucks, it kinda just feels like a gimme. Like, they're like,
Right.
"We'll just give it to Psycho Sid, and then, we'll, like, do other things with its storyline somehow."
Hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
No.
Like, it feels
Yeah.
very interim champion, like, he's not gonna be holding it for very long.
Right. I know, I agree. So let's get into the main event. We have Psycho Sid taking on Bret Hart in a steel cage. So this is the first steel cage match for Kelsey.
Ladies first cage match. Love to see
So
it.
first one for the podcast.
Yeah.
For those of you who are new to wrestling with Kelsey, the rules of this match, there is no disqualifications, no countouts. The only way that you can win is pinfall, submission, escape the cage. So that can be over the top and both feet touching the floor, or through the door, both feet touching the floor. So those are the way that you win cage matches. There are and will be cage matches where they like omit the escape the cage rule,
Mm.
or yeah, that sort of thing. But standard, that's the rules.
Because the way that and I know obviously this doesn't make for good storytelling, but if I was in a cage match, the way that I would just like, because they go in and they start by just like fighting each other, the way I would be like, just run up the thing and
Right.
dive over like I'd be like, whatever, girl. Like I'm not even wrestling you. I don't have to. I can just
Right.
leave this cage. Or like
Hmm,
I
hmm.
just so that makes sense that at some point they'll probably omit the escape the cage rule because I would just be like, peace out, bye.
No, I mean it's still like very much like it's still a thing, but it just in certain matches like
Is this
it the
omitted? Yeah.
stipulation will be like, oh, like you can't win that
Which
way.
I like that. I mean, like, for particularly, like, slimy wrestlers who would just, like,
Hmm.
like, find a way to weasel out, that makes
Right.
sense to me to be like, "Never mind, not you. You have
Right.
to stay in
No,
here."
no,
Like,
not
that works for
not
me.
you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so the match is underway, and of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin, at the first sight that Psycho Sid might be making his way out of the door, comes down the ramp and closes that ish right in Psycho Sid's face. He said, "Nope,
Mhm.
no, 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 that's not happening.
No, you don't know the password.
No,
Sorry.
absolutely not." So that knocks Psycho Sid back into the ring, back into the match. Bret Hart and Psycho Sid end up fighting their way up the wall of one of the sides of the cage. And of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin climbs the opposite side
I love
with
it.
just cat-like reflexes, scurries
Like a
up
squirrel.
and just starts hammering on Psycho Sid.
So amazing.
And then from the inside of the ring, Bret Hart finally like comes to from whatever has knocked him down, and
Mhm.
both Bret Hart and Stone Cold are hammering on Sid while they're all just like on top of the cage, which is crazy
It's
because
so
these are
crazy.
not small men. Like these are big dudes.
And
And
this is a cage they built 12 minutes before.
right,
Like,
no,
literally,
literally.
they just put it together.
Right.
Like, I
And
just really can't.
so of course, the Undertaker, who's not just gonna stand by and be like, my title match isn't gonna be a title match anymore. I think not. So he
Mhm.
comes out and then he starts climbing this chaos, and the four of them are just hanging from the top of this like page, and they're all four of them are on one, or like, two are on one side, two are on the other, but you can hear the entire cage like squeaking in place because it's that old school, like that blue like grid cage. It's not like the chain link one that we like come to know and love. Like, no, it's like eight slats of like metal that are just like
Mm-mm.
basically like locked into place by like just placing them into each other and
Mm-mm.
then like locking. So like they're just like shaking this whole thing because combined they may as much as like a small sedan, and they're just like rocking the whole cage.
So scary. I was
uh
like, "This thing's coming down. I don't know." Like, I'm just so scared. It was really something to behold, all 4 of them up
right.
there.
And the like at one point the Undertaker like grabs Austin like down, and like Austin basically like slides down the side of the
Oh, it
cage.
looked
Just
horrible.
it looked like all of his ribs just went like against every rung of the cage, just all the way
Yeah, like
down.
a xylophone. I thought his nipples were gonna, like, shred clean off. I
No,
was like,
right
"There is
off.
no way we're coming back from this." Like, he's dead. I don't know.
Right. And
And
then
I don't
short
think that was intentional that he
No,
fell.
I think he like
Meant
slipped
to,
and like
like
meant to like grab it, and then like was like, oh no,
mm-mm.
this is not worth it, and just kept falling.
Oh
Uh
god, it was horrible.
so as that is happening on the outside, Bret Hart hits a superplex on Psycho Sid on back into the ring, which is also crazy because Psycho Sid is 6'9" and
Mhm.
300 pounds.
Yeah.
So chaos is abound. And and so the Undertaker and Stone Cold are fighting on like the outside of the ring when Stone Cold hits the Undertaker with a vicious chair
Ooh.
shot to the back. And it just so happened to be like where the camera was like the closest to. So
Mm-mm.
you hear the whack, you hear the Undertaker hit the ground. You're just like, damn. Like that was
Yeah.
rough.
Ugh, and, like, when they played it again, because at first I was like, "Oh god," like, I don't even but it
Mhm.
did get mostly him on the back, but still, you don't wanna be hit with a chair like that regardless, like, in
Right.
any, part of your body, like, it just
No.
ooh, my god,
No, no,
it
no.
was rough, rough watch.
So the match continues, and it looks like Psycho Sid is making his way up the wall when Bret Hart starts making his way towards the door. And The Undertaker, who has freed himself of Stone Cold Steve Austin because Stone Cold has like made his way to the back finally, comes over and slams the door in Bret Hart's face, like crunching his fingers like into the cage, knocking him back into the ring, allowing Psycho Sid to win via escape the cage. So at WrestleMania, the matches are as they stand. Bret Hart will be taking on Stone Cold Steve Austin in a submissions match. And for the WWF Championship, we will have Psycho Sid taking on The Undertaker.
I
So,
can't.
yeah. Yeah, so much chaos. So much
I
chaos.
it was the timing was so amazing of, like, Psycho Sid is, like, about to be at the bottom of the cage, and Bret Hart is about to walk out the door, and The Undertaker just slamming the door on Bret Hart, jamming the fingers really got me, like, I no
Mm,
one that's not comfortable for anybody, I don't
no,
care,
no, not
like,
to
in any
watch, not to
circumstance.
experience. Yeah.
Um, and then just, Undertaker, because he's not a gloater, he just gets business done, just disappears. He's like,
Right.
"That's that, bye," and just leaves, like, he's not a lingerer, which I love about him. Um, this was I was like, I just because okay, I want Undertaker to have a title shot so bad, and I'm so excited to see that, like, I just love him so much, and I just but I was like, how many times is Bret Hart going to face losses like this where he's interfered with, where before he full on snaps? Apparently, it's today.
Today was the day.
Today was the day. I was today years old, like, because.
Today he chose violence.
'Cause I was like, cause normally it just, like, ends with the last match ending, and I was like, "There's 6 minutes left on this episode, like, what are they possibly gonna do for 6 minutes?" Well, girl, I found out.
Yeah.
I found out.
Honestly.
I was like, "Is Bret
S-
Hart gonna tweak?" And Xavier goes, "I think he's gonna tweak. I think he's
no,
gonna
yeah,
tweak."
like I was like, there's way too much time for this to end now. Like, there's way too
Fully.
much time. So Vince goes into the ring and he goes to get a word with Brett as the essential like it looks crazy. So like the cage is being taken down by like the ring hands. Bret Hart is pissed, pissed in the middle of the ring, and
Mm-mm.
Vince honestly if I'm in that mood and someone walks up to me and it's like, "You must be frustrated."
Are you upset because you lost so bad? Are you
And
crazy?
are you nuts? Like, hello?
Oh my god.
So he knocks Vince down, grabs the mic, like fully
To the
shoves
floor!
him to the ground,
The floor!
grabs the microphone, and loses his mind. This man is like invoking the Lord. He's like,
Mm,
he's just cursing with reckless abandon, like you've never heard Bret Hart because he's normally so like prim and proper, and like
yeah.
he loses it. He's essentially like, how many times is this going to happen? Like much to your point, it's like, how many times is this going to happen? No one cares. He's
Mm,
like, this like Vince, you don't care. Gorilla Monsoon doesn't care. Like I don't understand like what I have to do and why this keeps happening. So he's like, he's losing it, and then
I would.
uh, same. So he's losing his mind. Stone Cold comes on the Titantron again. And of course, Stone Cold's like, every time you come out here, it's wah, 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 wah. Like, oh
Oh,
God. He's like, are you kidding me? He's like, this is like, he's like, I went out there and tried to help you, and you still fumbled the bag because you're a loser. And
Girl,
and I was
you
just like,
lost because you're a loser. That is crazy. Listen, some cursing is effective. It makes you feel good, whatever. But when you get hit with the non-curse word insults, that
mm,
cuts you to the soul. You lost because you are a loser.
right.
Like that.
That is just what you do. Ooh.
Oh
Ooh.
my God, the way I would have saw red and Bret Hart did. I mean, I literally
He was
was.
losing his mind, losing
Oh
it.
my God, makes you
So
crazy.
Bret Hart starts yelling. He's like, you know why you're called Stone Cold? Because your stones are so cold. Like you won't come out here and like face me. You know, like he's like, so he's losing it. And then he starts going off on like Sid, and it's like, Sid, like that's my title. You know it's my title. Like blah blah blah. He's like losing his mind. Sid comes out to the ring. He's like, I don't know any of this. I don't know what you're talking about. Sid like
Like,
throws this belt down, gets in the ring. They start like shoving each other. Mind
mm-hmm,
you, Stone Cold has disappeared from the Titantron, so
mm-hmm.
you know he's on his way.
You
So
know it's coming.
absolutely. So Bret and Sid are shoving each other in like the back. The Undertaker makes his appearance again because he's like,
Mm-hmm.
don't you dare like mess with my title match, essentially.
I
So he
love.
comes out to either like break it up, do something. When Stone Cold comes barreling down the ramp and just interjects with, so like, let me back up a little bit. Undertaker comes down to the ring. Bret Hart jumps from his little altercation with Psycho Sid onto the Undertaker. They're
Mm-hmm.
brawling. Stone Cold comes down the ramp, then attacks Bret Hart, and Undertaker's like, "That one's you." Like
That's all. You know
honestly,
what?
he's like, "You know what? That one's yours. I'm gonna
I'm
go.
gonna. Yeah.
I'm gonna go take the big one." So
Mm-hmm.
then Taker and Psycho Sid just start wailing on each other in the middle of the ring. They're just like,
Mm-hmm.
we're not waiting. So on the outside of the ring, Stone Cold and Bret Hart are beating the holy hell out of each other. On the
Mm-hmm.
inside of the ring, The Undertaker and Psycho Sid are beating the hell out of each other. And then all of a sudden, our boy Shawn Michaels just like makes his presence felt, and the camera is like behind him, and he's just kind of like looking at all the chaos like unfolding in
Chills.
front of him, and you're just like, ooh, like that's such a good shot because it's just
Mm.
like when this dust settles, he's like, I know what I'm looking out for. He's like, I know exactly what I'm looking out for, and so it's just kind of like it gives us a little like, ooh, Sean's back.
Oh, it was
Sean's
so
back.
good. It was
And
so,
you
so
know that
good.
he was not gonna let that happen without like just making his presence felt. He's like,
I know.
he didn't really do much. Really,
Nope.
he like came down in the ring. He like grabbed a chair at the end, which was a little odd because like
Yeah. He didn't
everyone
need
had already
to.
left the ring.
Yeah.
But it is just kind of the like, hey, still here.
It was so amazing because it really gave like because first of all he was wearing white and like this white light was on him. It literally gave like angel energy, like seriously, like coming over to look over like the fallen angels fighting in the pits of hell. Like he was like, see
Honestly,
what happens when I'm not the champion.
right,
I'm not here and you see what's going on.
right,
Just turmoil, chaos. And he was like walking through, just like looking down, like he was like, oh, like literally walking past like Stone Cold and Bret Hart beating the tar out of each other, and he was like, hmm, okay, let's look over here. Like
right.
literally like Ares, like the god of war walking through a battlefield and like no one really sees him because he's like a god and like whatever.
Right.
And he's just like, okay,
How
interesting.
about that? Yeah,
Interesting.
interesting.
It was so, so well done. 10
So
out
well
of 10.
done. Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
It is just like see what happens when I'm not here. Well, guess what's gonna happen when I come back because I'm taking all of this in. I'm gonna take notes. I'm gonna watch WrestleMania,
Right.
and I'll be back. I'll be
Oh,
back.
which is great. So that is where we are left. That is the end of this episode.
Crazy.
Guys, next week is going to be WrestleMania 13. Very, very, very exciting.
So
So, uh,
exciting.
thank you guys as always for joining us. If you want to catch us on the internet, find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Literally, we are on all of the services.
Yeah.
Um, and then you can find us on Instagram at N2, the number 2W podcast on Instagram. So come check us out. Come see what we're posting. We post little clips of the episodes as well as just like little graphic designy stuff. And I'm always just posting on the stories like random throwbacks that I come across because my entire feed is wrestling. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah,
but
my most favorite thing you posted was Bret Hart on the phone, and you just asked me, like, "Bret Hart calls you, what are you saying?" And I was like, "Ooh, I love this." Nothing.
not just listening to his breathing. Uh,
Yeah.
so thank you guys for listening. We will catch you this Saturday for New to Wrestling After Dark, where we were going to take on the rise of the NWO, and then catch us next week for another exciting episode where we are going to cover WrestleMania 13. All right, guys, have a good night. We'll see ya this weekend.
We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.